Hi guys! So we are going to continue on with our bracelet tutorials, and this one is going to be a little different than the last one. As I had mentioned before, I'm actually going to make a little needle out of this stringing wire. So this one is 0.46 millimeters, and it's going to serve as the needle, so we'll just need a tiny little amount. And then I have this Stretch Magic beading string, the elastic beading string, which is 5 millimeters. So there is this one, which is 0.5 millimeters, and we're going to double that up. And then I have clippers. You can use scissors. I have my glass beads, which I got from Michael's for, I think these were $5.99, and a few pieces that I purchased from a bead store. So these were like $1.20 each, and this one is just an Aurora Borealis rondelle, square shaped. And then this was, I think this one was about $13. So that's probably the more pricey of the items that we're using here. And then I got these from Joann's Fabric, and I think they were a couple dollars, so we're going to use these as spacers. And then I'm also going to use a ruler because I want it to measure about 6.5 inches total length. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is actually get into my elastic cord. And interesting, they have some instructions on the back that they look okay. Break into our new wire, find the end, wherever that might be. Okay, so this is a very different feeling from the last string, which the last one I used was this elastic cord, 1 millimeter, and it's thick. I actually kind of maybe prefer it. I don't know, we're gonna give this a shot, but I'm gonna have to double this up. It just feels super thin, and the first thing that I do is just stretch it out, just because it will stretch out over time anyways, so you want to give it a fighting chance that it's not going to just stretch off of somebody's arm. One thing is it's much more delicate than the 1 millimeter, so I want to be careful that it doesn't break. So I'm just going to try to get, I'm not going to measure 6.5 inches, but I want it to be much longer than that because of the tying off at the end. So I just want to make sure it is probably about 10 inches and then doubled. So that's what we have here. Okay, so now that I think it's long enough, I'm going to go ahead and cut off a piece, which seemed like it would be easier than it's actually proving to be. So that's kind of good. So maybe it's a little more durable than I was thinking. And so this will be my needle. So what I'm going to want to do is just trim off a little piece of that. And again, this is just some silver bead stringing wire. And I'm going to fold this in half. It's kind of important that the two ends line up almost perfectly, just because otherwise it'll be hard to use as a needle. You can see I kind of made that here. And then we're going to knot the ends of this off, and you'll see how this works. Okay, and I'm continuously stretching these just to get them a little bit worn in, and I'm going to make a slip knot at the end that will be removable. My other option is you'd have to cut it out, so I'd rather just make it so that I hate to waste, so if we can just remove it, it's a little bit easier. Alright, this is proving to be tricky. So, just your basic slip knot. Yep, and just make sure that it's tight enough that it stays in place. Now if I pull on these ends, it'll come right out. So, looks good to me. And so now you have a loop here. Hopefully you can see that. And what you can do here is thread your needle. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and open up our beads. Then we're ready to start stringing. Alright, so just being kind of careful not to break any of the beads and have them roll off the table as per usual. Okay. And these beads have a nice, careful, they will run away. They have a nice weight to them. Okay, we're ready to start stringing. We're going to go ahead and take our needle and start putting some beads on our string. This works just as you would imagine. It's just making sure that the bead doesn't fall off. Just going to go through, start stringing all of our beads. And now I'm going to put the rondelles on probably every fourth ball. So go 2 more and put our rondelle on. Okay, and you can see how this is starting to look. I do like it. Happy. Okay, now we're ready for our rondelle. So we'll go ahead and put that on. And it's just as easy as doing that. And you can make this look however you want. So you certainly don't have to follow this design, but what I've done is basically split this into thirds with this, and then we're going to put this connector bead in as the middle. So I'm going to keep going, and then you'll see the connector bead. Okay, so we have done another 4 beads, and we're ready for our connector, which is technically going to be in the middle, but just as easy as sliding it on. There's nothing complicated about this. There it is. Okay, so I have finished the bracelet except for the very end portion. And so this is where we're actually not going to use glue, but we're going to tie off the end. So you want to make sure you're keeping, this is the part with the needle. You want to keep that because we're going to use it, but we're going to actually undo our knot. So just be careful not to lose your beads here. So what we're going to do is take this end, we're going to put it into this loop, and then we're going to start to do our knots. So now that I have that, I'm going to take this out. Okay, and then you should see the end. We're going to start to move all these beads towards the end. So you're not going to have that little, the idea is to get rid of this little tail here. Okay, so just basically tight. You want it to be really tight. And one thing I have heard is that you want to actually keep tension on your beads kind of at all times, and that way it keeps your knot in place and it won't loosen up. So don't be afraid to go tight. You don't want to break it, but you do want to move this until you have it as tight as possible. And then we're going to go ahead and make our knot. So the way we make our knot is we're going to go over one and under. Okay. And we're going to pull that tight. We're going to do this again. So we're going to go over, but we're going to actually go over again. This is how they do sutures. So you can see you've got a couple knots, and we're going to keep doing that. We're going to do that on each side. Pull it tight. When I say side, I mean we're going to go underneath and do that again. So we're going to go over twice. Okay. Pull that tight. And this knot is actually going to get stuffed into this ball. So you can use a drop of glue if you want to, but I'm not going to. Okay, so we'll do that one more time, wrapping it around twice, and making it very tight. So hopefully you can see that knot, and that knot will eventually go in to a bead. Okay, so now I'm just going to pull all the way around, and we're going to snip it. And that knot should not be going anywhere. And my scissors are not snipping very well these days. I really need to sharpen them. Okay, so there we go. And I'm going to tuck these ends into this bead if possible. May not be possible, that's okay. I can put it into this little silver or gold rivet thing. You don't really want to see that knot. Oop. Like that. Okay. There we go. So I got it into that bead. So you can't see it anymore. Alright guys, so that's the finished bracelet, and you can see the measurement, although you'd have to double this, so it's about 7 inches total. And here's what it looks like on We'll see how it looks. And then if you want to see what it looks like worn next to another bracelet. These are stacking bracelets, so you can see what it would look like if it was stacked.